Alright, so here we have it. This is WILDCAMP number 5 for me. Yeah, number 5. Of course, all 5 have been in like urban, it's going to have to be urban stealth kind of wild camps that I'm doing. Monday night, awesome. You guys are all at work and stuff, and I'm off today and tomorrow. Anyway, that's the setup so far. I didn't really film much. I think I filmed myself putting in a peg and throwing all that leaf matter on the side of the palatka tent. And yeah, now I just want to get everything done. It's like 4 o'clock now. The days are getting longer at the end of the day, so I should have a bit of sunlight. Today I brought in all my own wood, simply because, like I said in the previous video, I don't want to chop anything down in this area. There's a lot of dead wood lying around, so I'll be able to get spare stuff. But I do want to do a bit of an experiment today with the stick stove. I want to kind of like do similar to the Swedish Fire Log or something. Yeah, I know I got the name wrong on that. Anyway, my logs are not very, my branches are not really that thick. They're probably like something like that. So there's quite a few that can go into the stove. So we'll see how it goes. The main thing is this time of year, all the leaves are down, things are falling, gaps are opening up in the park. So I walked in on a different way today, and I've actually been able to see this site, see right through from another pathway, almost through to here. So I need to be careful tonight when I do my fire. I need to be behind this little, there's a mound over here on the left of my tent. I might have to put the stove behind there. I was planning on doing it over here, just about that area, but I think that's going to be quite exposed to the pathway. Yeah. Before I get cracking on with other things, I just wanted to show you this is the Highlander self-inflating mattress. I've shown the bag of it, but I've never shown the actual mattress. So let me inflate it a bit. Highlander base S, I guess that stands for small. Hopefully you can see that. It's 120 centimeters by 51 centimeters by 3 centimeters deep. I don't have any other experience with self-inflating mattresses, but I'm super happy with this. It's about, yeah, all you need with a self-inflating mattress is something which goes the length of your upper body down to maybe around your knees or something. You don't need to have something goes all the way down to your ankle. So here's the mattress fully inflated. Pretty good. Decent thickness. And I've slept, this will be my 3rd time using this, and I'm sure it's going to be alright. Alright, so it's like more or less a 24-hour overnighter. I brought a couple, brought a lager and 2 IPAs to try out. Just forgot the bottle opener. Let's have a check if Mr. Lappy over here will do the job. So this this came in a box. I got a box at Christmas, just a gift from someone, from my brother actually. So he bought a bunch of IPAs and lagers and stuff in a box, kind of delivered from different breweries. You have it. Laplanders have multiple uses, don't they? I just grabbed a bunch of things. So I got Paxton IPA from the London Beer Factory, that's on the left. I was quite happy with one of theirs. I had a Hazy Days, I think, IPA. I think that was one of the first ones that I just started trialing from all the shops, and that was pretty nice. It's got the big opening in the can. You can drink pretty fast. Then obviously this one is in the middle over there. Then I've got Piston Head Haze Lager. I really like Piston Head. That'll be the 3rd one of the beers that I'm trying out. The one I like the most is Amber, full amber. The other one I had was custom lager, and that was just as good. So this is a haze lager. I'll be trying that out at some point, probably tonight. And then on the right is Neon Grove, made by the same guys that make this. So that means, oh, but that's a session IPA, that blue one over there. So confirmed, I got 2 lagers and 2 IPAs, all from obviously craft brewing companies. Let's give a small quick little camp tour. Over here, I mean, I just got my stuff there. I'm just leaving there for now because I still got a decent amount of sunlight left. Let's just have a look at the tent quickly. Lighting is, I put a few candles in there so you can get the head torch on. So there you go. So with the Polish Army tent, Polish palatka, you get, it's obviously 2 army ponchos put together, buttoned together. They're designed to be able to work like that. It's not like a modification people are doing. Now, those things over there are the armholes, which I've just put 2 pieces of wood in just to let some more light in here so we can see what we're doing. There'll be obviously an armhole on each poncho, one on each side. So the armholes of this side are situated on the door flaps. So I've got that open there, one's behind there, one's behind there. There's a bunch of drawstrings. I think it's to tighten the top, obviously, because this will be the hood of the guy who's wearing it. And then the hood at the top folds over in a little bit of a clever way. You've got to make sure when you put the pole in that you flap this guy inside here quite nicely over that one before you flap this guy over, because I've made the mistake of not doing it properly on my first camp. But I guess it doesn't help that you arrive at 2 o'clock in the morning and set everything up using night vision. Anyway, it's a decent sized tent. I mean, mine is the small. I was a bit miffed about that because I think there was an error when I ordered it from the website. I wasn't charged for a medium, but it did say medium, and I was like paying, but I think it automatically clicked because the medium was out of stock, so it already went down to the small size, and I thought I'd get in the medium. The way you tell is on the door flap there'll be an eyelet. 1 eyelet symbolizes the small size, 2 the medium, and 3 is large. If you've got one with 3, you're really lucky. Be careful when you order these online, because sometimes you'll be sold one side is a different size than the other. So, you know, contact the seller and just say, look, I want to be sure that both sides are the same size of the same model. So if it's small, I want a small. If it's a large, I want a large, but I don't want one side smaller than the other. You wouldn't really notice it that much, but it's just when it comes to pegging your door in, the 2 flaps, you'd end up with like one going way longer than the other. I don't know. I've not come across anyone who's had a major complaint about it, but they did say be careful about it. So of course I got that's the Highlander going up till there. That's my British Army stuff bag. I've got my wool blanket in there. I'm just putting it there to show you what a pillow space looks like. I've got underneath I got the silver roll mat, a really thin one, it's like 5mm. This is purely just to have that heat reflection. This is good enough. So you have your ground sheet, it's a cheap top. Obviously these tents don't have built-in ground sheet. I'm pretty okay with that. Like, I'm not gonna rip out these native plants over here just to make way for my tent for one night. So I'm leaving them in there. I just got rid of the main sticks and stuff. There's a bit of broken glass in here and stuff. Got these guys open for a little bit, just get a bit of, not fresh air, but just so I can see what I'm doing in here when packing everything in. What I like to do, I bring the tarp out this way, then I put things on there. So I put my bag full of my food supplies will go somewhere there, probably closer to the door to keep it cooler. Then obviously things like hatchet, my axe, you know, my knife, belt, things like that, kind of going over there. then my bag would go somewhere over here. Beers would probably go somewhere in the corner over here, the ones I'm saving for tomorrow. And then this empty space over here is just for like my shoes, my pants, things like that. Doesn't always go like that, but I like to kind of try and keep it a similar function every time, so I remember where everything is in case I wake up at a weird time in the morning for some reason. So I'll get a few things put in here and crack on with the beers. I can wait a bit to light the fire because I've got everything dry, I've got everything perfectly going, and I'm not that hungry. I did eat something before I left home. Alright, so clearly we're using lots of light now. I don't know if you can see it, but I've put up the Lixada folding stick stove, and there's also the windbreaker, and then there's my drink. So have a look, a quick round. I mean, the LCD is showing me like it's really dark, but sometimes when I review the footage it's a whole lot better when I got to the computer. There's the inside of the tent. I'm going to close up those two openings over there soon. Got a couple little tea light candles in there. I didn't bring a spare Yuko lantern candle, so I'm just going to fire that one up kind of like towards the end when I just need to do stuff inside the tent. So I've backed up a whole bunch of leaf fall twigs and moss and stuff onto the tent. Because it's going to be dry, I did that, but I wouldn't recommend doing that exact same thing if you're expecting quite a bit of rain. There's like 10% chance rain tomorrow, so it's nothing heavy. This is the back of the tent. So I face the tent this way for a particular reason. I want my tent to kind of block the fire, so as much as possible people are not going to be seeing the fire from a distance, because behind me that way as well as that way is, I wouldn't say openings, but places where people could possibly see a fire through the shrub, through the bush. It's just gone 5:30, and I kind of want to give the park maybe another half hour to an hour to cool down. So to give you an idea of where I'm camping now, I'm inside a park which is like under a certain council which belongs to London, and that council has one or two parks which is like a mix of, there's no grass here which is manicured, it's basically the like meadow grass, and a lot of areas in the park are quite overgrown, and it's done deliberately to kind of like promote wildlife. Alright, so typical me, I'm busy wild camping. I'm a bit bored because I don't want to light my fire yet, as I mentioned earlier. So I came to climb the cherry tree. I'm way at the top, highest point that I can stand. And that's London City in the background. All those red lights are just cranes and crap building things between me and London. But basically all the lights in the way background is basically London. And the lights in the sky are all the planes coming over to land at Heathrow Airport. Yeah. Let's see if I can go around. I mean, who climbs a tree at night? Honestly. Cool, so dinner's almost completely ready. I've got the, can't really see it so well here, can you? But I've got the tortelloni, which I cooked up, boiled in water, and then I've gone and thrown a bit of curry sauce, which my wife made, which is really awesome. So I'm sure some Italian bushcrafters and Italian people out there is going to see this and just be like, blasphemy. Anyway, that's the versatility about cooking over the fire, is you get to do what you want. Got a Polish sausage here. I got some more for breakfast tomorrow morning, so I can't really look for the package right now to see which sausage it is, so I'll check in the morning. And I've got a little bit of a dessert after this. The last piece of wood is on the fire now, and then I'm going to be, once I can eat the sausage and this food, I'll be cooking up some marshmallows. So there we have it. That's the surprise tonight, the surprise dessert. It's a couple of marshmallows. Well, I got a few. I got a bag full. There's my sausage chilling there, cooling off a bit. The tortelloni with curry sauce was just like, seriously, wow. So glad I came up with that weird concoction, you know, last minute. What can I do to eat tonight? Oh yeah, tortelloni and curry sauce. Yeah, that was great. My stomach loves me right now. I just thought I'd let you in on a little fact, a well-known but not really that well spread fact about Poland, is they know what they're doing when it comes to sausages.
The next morning. "72 hours later."
Okay, so there's a tripod in the center of the frame, and just off to the right of that is the tent. So just to give you an idea of how it kind of blends into the background, I'm about 20 meters away from the tent. So if you were just like rumbling through a place like this and not really paying much attention, you could easily skip past that, you know, if you're a certain distance and you're just not really looking for anything, you're just trying to get through somewhere. So regarding my sleep last night, I feel okay right now. So I can't say, I mean, I know for a fact I kept waking up. That's definite. I definitely kept waking up. The issue is, one, I don't like to keep, you wake up, okay, let me check the time, because that stays in your mind, and then you kind of click, I'm not getting any sleep, and then you end up having a crap sleep because of that. It's all psychological. So basically I did keep moving around. It's not that I had the
The ground was comfortable. Issue that I had was basically I think I'm on a semi little mound thing. So what happened was I kept sliding off to one side, as well as I tried to keep the wool blanket underneath me as well as over the side. And this wool blanket, I'll check the dimensions later, but it's really wide, it's really long, it's definitely suitable for me. But I've come to the realization that you spend all night trying to keep yourself in this little cocoon, and it's probably just a lot better to not worry too much about what's underneath you. In other words, that one extra layer, rather go ahead and put on top of you as a normal blanket and then tuck it in on the sides and not worry about it. Because what happens is all night long I've got one side underneath me looped around and going over and trying to keep that back end closed, and that keeps coming over the more I move, the more I turn side to side. I'm quite a restless sleeper, so I'm very conscious while I'm trying to sleep. And so the end result obviously was I was always trying to like keep that end piece closed in behind me or in front of me, and it worked, but just kept me awake. So I ended up like flipping it over so it was right on top of me. That was a lot better. I felt a lot warmer. I was warm. Top of my body was really warm. I didn't have any issues. There was just like this point where you're feeling a bit cold in little areas, and that just kept me awake. So at some point I said, okay, it must be 2 o'clock in the morning now, let me have a look. And it was 5 to 6. So there's no way that I basically rolled around for, 7 hours or whatever it was. No way in hell. So I definitely did catch some sleep, and it was a good night, I think. So when I pitch my tent, obviously I don't dig out, but I move out the leaf litter, and you can see some moss over there. I bank that up against the back of the tent a little bit. I mean, that part didn't work so well, but that's fine, just to try keep the heat in. And what I don't recommend is doing that kind of thing when you're expecting or when there's definitely going to be heavy rain, because that'll just absorb the water and then keep it there and keep it moist. So there was a very slight amount of rain that they expected today, and I just decided not to worry about it because I didn't hear anything tapping down on the tent last night. The ground doesn't feel wet at all, and looking at these clouds up here, it's just your everyday London, England, grey kind of cloud that doesn't usually bring anything down. So for today's breakfast I'm going to be doing an experiment, and I'm going to be following the Swedish log fire, where you take usually a birch and you cut a huge log of birch like this high, 2 feet high or whatever, 3 feet, however you want to do it, and then you take a chainsaw and you cut an X into the into the log all the way down vertically, and usually like quite a thick blade chainsaw. If you don't have a very thick one, then you kind of go up and down, kind of eat it out. And then it's up to you. You either leave the base, like the last 10 centimeters, which would be a few inches, like 4 inches or whatever. You leave that solid, and then you obviously kind of dig it into the ground a little bit so it's stable, and then you pack the center X. You pack that full of like birch bark, tinder, and all this kind of stuff, and you get it lit. And then once it's properly lit, it kind of, the whole thing will burn for like a couple hours or something, depending on your size of log. So I'm going to follow the similar concept here with the stick stove, but of course I don't have 4 logs, 4 nice thick branches to put in there. So just today is just an experiment, just to see, if you have a fault, you know what to do next time. So I'm going to put as many as I can in there, obviously in the center. So over here I'm going to have
it's going to be a little bit open. I'm going to be putting things like that in there. So there's a little bit of a cavity in the center where I can throw the birch bark into and just keep feeding that just so it gets lit. And then obviously that'll spread to all the other wood. I just cracked this open a second ago, and this is extremely smooth. Neon Grove Session IPA, 4.5%. I put a piece of bark, I think it's cherry bark or something, and what I do is once that birch tinder of theirs is lit, I'll hold the cherry bark and just toss that into the center there. There's a nice little flame going there in the center. Seems to me like it's definitely going to take by itself. There's one very small issue with this Lixada stick stove, the folding hinged one, is ventilation on the three sides other than the front is not that great. So the ashtray has a lot of little, not little, but it's got a lot of thick diameter holes drilled into the bottom. So I guess they're assuming that most of the air will come from the bottom. But I think if you're going to follow this system, you'd probably, get the panels out and just sort of like drill a few more holes in each side, maybe like 2 or 3 1 centimeter holes at least. Centimeters just somewhere around under half an inch. That would be my recommendation. As you can see, it's taking by itself. I don't even think I need to bother blowing that. It's now 20 to 9 in the morning. This is going really well. So yeah, give it a try. It's pretty fun. Hey! So I've upgraded my tinder pouch. I've gone from Hobo to Hobo Deluxe. So this is I was throwing out an old pair of pants that I used to use for work, and then I was like, this has got clip pockets, so I decided to cut it out. On that note, regarding the tinder pouch, I still have the Colonel Sanders hanging around. I'm not going to get rid of him yet. Yeah, we'll just have to break the newbie in and see how it handles life in my rucksack, But take a look at that fire, man. That's total success. That's burning really well. So I recommend following this system if you can in regards to a stick stove.
So the scrambled eggs and Polish sausage is pretty much ready. I don't want to put it on the fire for too long, so what I'm going to do is I just took it off now, I gave it a stir. I'll let it continue cooking by itself in the pot off the fire. It's just almost ready really. A little bit of moisture in there that I'd like to get rid of. The fire's going very, very well still there. Well, it's not a fire, but it's like really bright embers. So I know the fire looks like not much is going on in there except for some orange coals and embers. But honestly, it's intense heat. I was putting my hand here and it just takes like a couple seconds and then already you want to take it away. But even if you put your hand here, which is like 1.5 times the height of the stove, it's like really uncomfortable. Take my hand away. So the heat in there is just extreme. It did work really well. What I did do was I created a cavity underneath the stove and I found an old piece of porcelain from like a, I don't know, an old saucer or a plate. So I shoved that under there just to kind of protect, just in case there's any you know, like peat or roots underneath. I know I could have done a better job than that, but my intention obviously is with the ash. That's all the soil banked up there. I'll pour water over the ash and then put the soil back on and kind of get some moss back over the area, leave no trace. So I think that cavity also helps. I made the cavity deep enough that this morning when I got up I lifted the plate, emptied everything in, all the ash from last night, and I put the plate back on and put this guy back on. So looking on the side, there's still quite a lot of room for air to get through. I know that this guy, the fire reflector, the windbreaker, obviously prevents air from coming in. So if you're ever going to put one of those in, you could always make a few cavities underneath it, like a wall, digging under a wall, just to help the air to go in a bit. But no, this is really hot. So I think follow this method if you can. Climbing trees and then looking down when you get to a certain location which you considered was quite easy to get to is quite crazy, because like looking at that now, knowing that I've got a camera on me and stuff, it's going to be semi-difficult going down. It's not that bad, I mean I've got branches, but it's just yeah, I did that. I dug a hole for myself a good few, more than a month ago, when I went to the ancient woodland that I discovered. And when I went on my recce there, scouting it out, I was like, oh, sweet, let me go and climb that tree over there. So I set up the cameras and climbed up. There's a point where I had to like semi-jump across from one log to another, or one part of the trunk to another where it split. And that was like big lesson learned, because it was pretty hard to get out of there, and I was risking having a nice fat fall and waking up in a puddle of blood 6 hours later if I was lucky. So yeah, just be careful when climbing trees, but if you know how to do it, then just have fun. Oh no, complete emergency, man. I've been climbing up the tree and making videos and stuff. Totally forgot about the marshmallows, and like got the last little embers in there, you know. I threw the sausage back on just to warm that up a bit. Yeah, I better get the marshmallows on the stick, man. So I carved these sticks last night. I hope I didn't poison myself. Anyway, I did it from cherry. So there we got the scrambled eggs with Polish sausage. It's ready. And then I've gone for, obviously I got a bit of the sausage left, chopped the rest, and I'm making a Filipino style sausage and marshmallow kebab. They do this at birthday parties and stuff, but they usually use like American style hot dogs. Woohoo! So there's a dessert. Almost lost that one. Well, I think I lost about half of it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm still trying breakfast. I'm going to put this aside and eat that in a minute or two. Cool, so just digging into my coffee quickly. I'll be digging into that in about a second. I think soon I'll be breaking up camp. It's now just gone 10 o'clock. Like I said, I'm not really that pressed for time. I'll just give it a slow move out. And yeah, oh. latest addition to my gear, other than my Hobo Deluxe Tinder pouch, is just this folding spork. I just got it on eBay from China. It's a no-name brand, so but it's pretty sturdy. So I mean, I don't know, 4 pounds or something. Alright. You gotta try that out. I've had this Filipino style with like American hot dogs and marshmallows, which I guess are American. They're okay, but I'm honestly not a hot dog fan. If you get to experience other sausages from around the world, no offense to anyone from the US, but hot dogs kind of take a total backseat. As soon as I can afford to, I'll get some boerewors, which is South African sausage. Just all the South African shops are closing down in London. Most of us are leaving or whatever. So, got to travel further and further away. And I'll have a little cook up or something where I'll show you that sausage. That's a lot harder to cook. That'll have to be on an open fire. And no way you can cook that on a little stick stove. So I kind of clicked why I quite enjoy the feeling of being in this kind of wilderness. Well, I know we're not far from suburbs and stuff, but what I mean is I'm talking about obviously the trees, and you know, I'm not right in a street somewhere. What I like about this, I know it's a bit of a pain in the ass, like you get to a place like this and you got to put your tent down, you got to clear all that stuff out. What I seem to enjoy about it is with the denseness, it reminds me of home. So I grew up in southern Africa, and the denseness of the African bush is, in most cases, it's kind of like that, you know, it's really dense. Hence why, in my opinion, hence why certain countries have never been attacked by certain imperialistic armies, because it's really, the African bush is not the kind of place when you want to have like a mobilized warfare with another country. It's just extremely dense in here. I kind of dig it. And my other woodland that I go to is almost the same, honestly. It's pretty much like this, but there are open spaces because the trees in there are much larger, and it's considered like an ancient woodland. But yeah, that's why I kind of enjoy this a lot better, a lot more dense. You find your little spot like this, clear it out. Obviously next time I come here to camp, it'll be easier to clear this spot out. Okay, so wild camp number 5 done and dusted. Here's the site. Tent was there, fire was there, rubbish is all going with me. Pack bag, stash log, out. So this is obviously the no trace system that we seem to follow, where on my part I'm trying to return nature to the way it was, and then obviously most of us feel like we don't want other people to see that there's kind of like a good place to do camping, because unless it's a fellow bushcrafter, because they have the same respect for the land, they take care of the place and then they just, you know, look after it, take the rubbish away, get the fire done, leave no evidence. Whereas other people just leave a bunch of rocks there with a bunch of coals and beer bottles and stuff. So that's what we're trying to avoid, is just attracting people like that to places like this.